Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm a candidate, Republican candidate for HD 18, which consists of Liberty, San Jacinto, East Montgomery, and Hardin County. And I'm challenging the incumbent. That's Ernest Bales. And what I want to do in this video is look at his voting record, which is a liberal voting record. And I'm not casting aspersions against him. I'm not lying. I'm not making scurrilous accusations. Everything I'm going to say in this video is going to be documented. It's not coming from me. It's coming from conservative watchdog organizations that monitor and grade these legislators to see if they're fulfilling their campaign vows. Now, Ernest Bales, he has all these signs up, and it says on the bottom, conservative Republican. But in the reality, Ernest Bales has been, based on analytics, based on nonpartisan review of his voting records, he is documented by the data as a liberal. That's what he is. He is, people don't want to believe this or hear it, but look at his voting record. He is what's called a Republican in name only. Ernest Bales is a Democrat who runs on the Republican ticket. So let's look at some of the data, the hard facts. And in this video, especially the end, everything is going to be presented so you can look at it and look it up for yourself. Look it up for yourselves. You don't have to, well, people, I know Bales has some supporters that they don't care. They don't care what he does. They're going to vote for him no matter what. So I can't do anything about those people. There are his cult followers. They follow him blindly no matter what he does. They'll support it. But for you, the average voter who wants to vote for the best candidate, I'm putting this information out for you so you can know and we can expose this man's lies and deception. Because one of the things he does is he's passed legislation knowingly. He has knowingly passed legislation that he knows will harm the citizens of Liberty, San Jacinto, and East Montgomery County. So the fact of the matter is that Ernest Bales means to do you harm for his own personal enrichment and aggrandizement. So let's look at the facts. Let's look at the facts and let's go where the facts lead. So what I want to look at, one of the sources, we're going to look at different sources. We're going to start off with Grassroots America. Part of the problem here is that Republican voters, they're dismayed, right? They vote for candidates like Ernest Bales who claim that they're conservative Republicans, and yet the Democrats, even though you have a Republican majority in Austin, the Democrats are controlling the Texas State House. Even though they're the minority party, they control the Texas legislature. How does that happen? That's because of people like Dave Phelan and people like Ernest Bales and others. So let's look at scientific analysis of the Ernest Bales voting record. This information comes from many conservative organizations, starting with Grassroots America. You can look this up for yourself. Let's start off with Rice University analysis. This is the ideological scoring from Rice University, which is a prestigious university. This is not a conservative think tank. This is a respected university, which is on par with an Ivy League university. So according to the analytics of Rice University, looking at his voting record, on one year, Ernest Bales, this is 2021, he was slightly conservative, but he's on the edge. He's on the edge. But every other year he served in the legislature, he is slightly liberal. 2017, 2019, 2023. And notice that this is a liberal university saying that he's slightly liberal. So from the perspective of conservative Republican, this means that Ernest Bales is a liberal. So let's look at a quick summary of his voting record. This is what he's done. He voted yes on the impeachment of our Attorney General. A betrayal of the Republican Party of Texas by voting to impeach Ken Paxton. And Ken Paxton has done a lot for Texas in opposing the misrule and mismanagement, the oppression of the Democrat Biden regime that's harming this state, just harming this country. Thank God for Ken Paxton to effectively fight back against the Biden junta. And what is his reward for serving the people of Texas and serving the people of the United States of America? He's impeached by the Texas State House, by Ernest Bales and others. Also, Ernest Bales has sided with lobby groups. Almost 80% of the time he supports the lobbyists, but he is on record as saying that he prostitutes himself, as he puts it, to special interest groups and lobbyists, like his friends in the radical left-wing Marxist CRT propagating teachers' unions. That's his best friends are the left-wing teachers' unions. What does that tell you about him? Endorsed by the left-wing Houston Chronicle, what does that tell you about Ernest Bales? Notice that when it comes down to the line, if there's conservative legislation that's may or may not pass, and it's right at the edge, when that happens, the Democrats can depend on Ernest Bales to swoop in and save him. So he's joined Democrats on 34.47% of contested partisan votes. He can be counted on to go on the other side on contested election or in contested legislation. Also, he usually opposes Republicans more than Democrats if you look at all of his votes. Now, you go to a site called, this is the House of Bad Cards. And what happened, as I mentioned, people are upset that you go vote for somebody like Bales that has a big sign that says he's a conservative Republican, and then we find out that all this liberalism is going on in Austin. What's going on? You've been played. You've been lied to. So I didn't create this site. I did not create the deck of bad cards. This is a conservative organization which goes through the actions and the legislation passed and the votes of these representative and legislators, and they're grading them, and they determine, if you go to the website House of Bad Cards, Ernest Bales was determined to be a snake, which means he's a traitor. Conservative organizations going through his voting record have determined that he's a traitor to conservatives. He's a traitor to conservatives, to Republicans, and to Texas. And what do they have him on? He voted yes for impeachment, the impeachment of our Attorney General, Ken Paxton. I mentioned that. We can see the card here showing his liberal tendencies, including voting. Once again, we see him voting to impeach our Attorney General, Ken Paxton. But it also says that he voted to allow grants to hospitals that transition children, which is horrific. It's disgusting. So he's taken a lot of money from wealthy donors, and if you look at his donors, they include many notorious RINO groups give him tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So here, if you go to the House of Bad Cards, you can see his legislation, his left-wing legislation, and everything is documented. Go to that website and click those little URL codes where it says see for yourself, and you can read the documented news story showing his left-wing voting record and agenda. So now I want to mention holding our elected leaders accountable. And I have this I put together. It's the motion to censure State Representative Ernest Bales. So at each one of our Republican Party groups we have in each county, I'm going to propose censuring him because he campaigns as a conservative Republican, but he legislates as a liberal Democrat. And we're going to go through this video where I go point through point of all of his left-wing actions, including where he put on a purple shirt to show his intention to transition Texas from red to blue. He went to a Democrat rally wearing his purple shirt, showing that he's going to transition Texas. We see he supports transitioning children. Now he's going to try to transition the state of Texas. What's going to happen to the United States of America if Ernest Bales is successful and Texas becomes a blue state? He's working hard to make it happen. And that's part of the goal he has in establishing Colony Ridge, Chirinos, Houston here in our House District, creating a sanctuary city, bringing in 75,000 illegal aliens, mostly, and he hopes to increase that number to 250,000. And he wants you, citizen of HD18, to pay for it. And his goal ultimately is change the demographics so it's more favorable, and from his point of view, to the Democrat Party, so that this House District, Ernest Bales, is working through many, many ways to flip it from red to blue. Stop him from doing it. We need to censure him. Hopefully we can censure him before the election. But we need to vote this villain, this liar, this deceiver, this con man out of office. So we're going to go point by point about what he's doing. This is indisputable. This is his record. And we need to hold him accountable for the harm he's doing by voting against the best interests of this House District and hurting us. I want to mention with Colony Ridge, more corruption has been exposed. And the Department of Justice has come in. A lot of times, Ernest Bales, Trey Harris, and John Harris, when you confront the issues in Colony Ridge, cartel activity, exploitation of illegal aliens, violence, killings, chaos, damage the environment, they'll say, oh, that's not true, you're exaggerating. But now the federal government is investigating Colony Ridge, Chirinos, Houston. The Department of Justice is taking legal action against Colony Ridge, Chirinos, Houston, and John and Trey Harris for fraud and for racist policies targeting vulnerable Hispanics and exploiting them. So this isn't just a fringe conspiracy theory. This is the finding of the federal government based on investigation, and they're taking legal action. And more legal action is going to be taken, and we find Ernest Bales' fingerprints all over Colony Ridge. Of course, he created this hub of cartel activity of human drug and sex and child trafficking. He created that by passing, deceitfully and secretly passing legislation called House Bill 4341. Knowing, he secretly did it because he knows that the citizens of this House District don't want that, and he knows that it's going to do us great harm, but he doesn't give a damn about you. He wants to pocket some cash. So we need to send this man packing. We need to make sure that Colony Ridge, Chirinos, Houston closes up shop and they get their worthless rear ends out of there, and we need to get Ernest Bales out of Austin and back somewhere where he can do less harm. People in this area are frustrated. A lot of people want to move out because what Ernest Bales has done to them. And when I'm campaigning, I talk to them and say, don't give up hope yet. Let's vote Ernest Bales out of office and create a better future for you. Your family has been in this area for generations. We want to preserve that legacy and make sure your family is able to be here for generations to come. And we're going to stop this damage that Ernest Bales has done and create a better future for all the citizens and residents of House District 18. So please be informed and take action and vote. Early voting starts February 20th, and Election Day for the primary is March 5th. So I hope to see you at the polls, and I hope you're voting for change. And vote Ernest Bales out of office so we have a better future for House District 18. Thank you, and God bless you.